It's time for a new cycle of Torah study, and I cannot wait to see the things that Yah will unfold for us in this coming year. Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10-Minute Torah, and we begin a brand new Torah cycle beginning with Bereshit, or the book of Genesis. Bereshit, the first of the Torah cycle Torah portions. How much information can you pack in just a verse or two, huh? Verses 1 and 2 are just overwhelming. And then you get to verse 3 and things really get exciting. So we're just back now, actually at the time of this recording, just pulling the travel trailer up into the yard and getting it unloaded. Tomorrow includes in the middle of the rain that is forecast, unloading the back of the truck and unloading sound equipment back in House of David. And when the sun finally comes out, getting everything dried out. It's a busy week ahead. But Sukkot was wonderful, awesome, and I hope yours was as well. That being said, at the end of Sukkot, we start over in the Torah cycle. Now, why do we do this? Why do we study the same set of 5 books, Bereshit through Devarim, Genesis through Deuteronomy, over and again, year after year? And it's not to say that we don't have other choices. We can study from the prophets, from the Brit Hadashah or New Testament, and we can look at a variety of different angles. This year, I want to try to include all of those. I'd like to teach or speak or offer commentary from the Torah portion, but also insights from the Haftorah, the prophetic writings that go along with it as much as possible, and then also pulling in significant scriptures from Psalms, maybe even Proverbs at times, and then also from the Brit Hadashah. Again, for those not familiar with the term Brit Hadashah, the New Testament. And we'll at some point tell you why we choose one phrase over the other. But we begin in Bereshit, Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. Many of you are familiar with the Hebrew phrase in Bereshit, bara Elohim et hashemayim ve'et haaretz. In the beginning, Yahweh, or Elohim here actually, in the beginning, Elohim created the heavens and the earth. A couple of things I want us to notice right off the bat, and today I don't know that we'll get much beyond verse number 1. Number 1 is that Yah created the heavens first. Then he created the earth. One way of saying this is that Yah created all of the heavens, and then he created all of the earth. So that being said, what that tells us then is that the heavenly realm, the spiritual realm, is full, it's complete, it is accomplished, it is absolutely done. While the earth seems to be yet evolving in the physical realm, we have this whole, I don't want to get political here, but you have the whole idea of climate change. And I don't see it necessarily personally as dramatic climate change. The temperature seems to be fluctuating just slightly. But who's to say that this has not been an ongoing process where the climate of the earth changes and fluctuates ever so many periods of years? Maybe it's thousands of years. I don't know. Is it man-made or not? It seems to me that this is more about the earth's groaning to be released from the curse and a response of the earth to man's sin. So is climate change man-made? Well, maybe not so much from exhaust fumes out of your automobile or carbon emissions and the burning of coal or other sources for coal plants or wood plants or however it's derived. I don't know that smoke in the air is the issue as much as man's activity. Man, science would say to you that that's ludicrous. That's just totally out of the question, that the way that we live has nothing to do with the environment. Yeah, let's chase that through the scriptures and see how well we pan that out. But I also want us to understand that heaven and its completion, its destiny has already been declared and accomplished. Yeshua taught us to pray, your kingdom come, your will be done and accomplished as it is in heaven. That is, that the will and the desire, the kingdom of Yah is a done deal in the heavens. His will is already accomplished in the Spirit. His purpose, his destiny is already decreed and declared in the Spirit. Today I'm reading from the duct tape version of the scriptures. And in chapter 46 of the book of Yeshayahu, Isaiah, chapter 46, verses 9 and 10 say this. Remember the former events of old, for I am El, and there is no one else, Elohim, and there was no one like me. Verse 10, declaring the end from the beginning, and from old that which has not yet been done, saying, my counsel does stand, and all my delight I do. So even from the beginning, more on that word in a moment. From the beginning, Yah has already established his will, his delight. His counsel stands firm, and what he has determined absolutely will be accomplished here in the heavens, as it's already done in the earth. It's interesting that of all the words in the Hebrew language that could have been used to be the first word in the Torah, Yah chose the word Bereshit. Bereshit is begun with an enlarged bet, familiar to our English letter B. And this bet is symbolic of the house. So out of the house of the beginning, Reshit, out of the house of Reshit, the beginning, proceeds then all of the Torah. Interesting. We also understand then that Yah knew that from the beginning, things would not go perfectly. Perhaps not perfectly by design. So in those moments of chaos and in those moments of upheaval, let's also understand that it's very likely that it's not just Hasatan that is working his wiles and deceptions, but it is the purposes of Yah that in the midst of deception, in the midst of upset, in the midst of turmoil, the kingdom has opportunity to advance, for it refines the people of Elohim. Yah's people are made better in tough times. They rise to the occasion. They cry out, and Yah hears us. Let's also then understand that from the beginning, Yah knowing that things are not going to be perfect, he knew that there would be those that would be near and those that would be far off. In Ephesians chapter number 2, he says in verse 13, but now in Messiah, Yeshua, you who were once far off have been brought near by the blood of the Messiah, for he is our peace, who has made both one and having broken down the partition of the barrier. Going over a few verses, it says in verse 17, and having come, he brought his good news, peace to you who were far off and peace to those near. Because through him we both have access to the Father by one Spirit. Yehuda, the Jews who are still near, and the house of Israel, the tribes that have been lost and scattered the world over, those that are afar off, both have access to the Father by the same Spirit. It is by the Spirit of Yah, the Ruach HaKodesh, that draws our hearts to Him and fashions our lives like Him. By our desire, fostered by the Ruach HaKodesh, we have access to Him. We'll talk about the word Bereshit a little bit more tomorrow. Hang tight. Until then, shalom.